Okay, start in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Juju here with another video for you today. Today, we're going to talk about something different. Today, I'm going to give you 2 cards that I feel like are very underrated in the meta right now. Just want to give a heads up. This isn't financial advice or anything like that. I'm not telling you to invest into anything. I just want to give you my opinion on what cards I feel like are very good and maybe underrated and might be hidden gems. If you're looking to invest, though, don't ask me because I'm not a professional. You should probably seek out like maybe a professional financial advisor. But with that being said, we're just going to get into it. Before we just go into the individual cards, I just want to say that probably the reason why these cards aren't as popular in the meta right now is because the decks that they support are probably overshadowed by either more powerful decks or just the decks that they support don't have enough support yet. Not saying that they're not powerful decks. I'm just saying that maybe they're 1 or 2 cards away from making the deck super powerful. With that being said, I'm going to go into the first card. First card is Faustian Pact. This card is redonkulous. It's a 3-mana death spell, and it's draw 9 cards. Wait, what? Yep, draw 9 cards, and at the end of your turn, obliterate your hand. Right, so essentially for 3 mana, you're refilling your hand with cards that you can potentially play. Now, alone, this doesn't seem too powerful, but I can definitely see like this being a form of like reload or a reload button for us for a deck, particularly like an aggro death deck. Just filling up your hand is very strong. Like for 3 mana, you fill up your hand. And the reason why this card seems like super underrated is because it also combos well with 2 other cards that I feel like can level up this deck, right? The first card is Necronomics, right? This one is a 1 mana card, deal 5 damage for your god, and refresh 5 mana. So you're essentially gaining 4 mana, right? So by turn 4, you can play Faustian Pact, draw 9 cards, play Necronomics if you have one in your hand, which you might be able to since you're drawing 9 cards, and then play whatever you need to reload or play whatever you drew, right? I could totally see this being a combo in decks that spam 1 mana minions or 2 mana minions, and essentially the first couple of turns you're like developing your board, you're playing 1 drop after 1 drop after 1 drop, then you hit turn 4 and you're like, shoot, I played all my 1 drops, I only have this Faustian Pact in hand. Guess what, let me go ahead and play that Faustian Pact, get the Necronomics, play the Necronomics, and draw a handful of more 1 drops that I can just play. Since they're 1 drops, I could play 4 minions in 1 turn. I mean, you can include 2 drops too, and that's totally fine. And then what if I draw the second Necronomics? Or what if I draw a second Faustian Pact? So then I could play Faustian Pact, Necronomics, 1 drop, 1 drop, 1 drop, refill my hand again with the Faustian Pact, maybe draw the last Necronomics, play the Necronomics, and then who knows what I can use, right? So it seems like a pretty busted card, especially with that combo. And I'm excited to see if this can actually work in a deck in the meta. I'm pretty sure it will, but these 2 cards together just seem way too overpowered. And then the second card that works well with Faustian Pact is Student of Truth, which is a 2 mana 3/2 mystic. If you draw a card, gain 4 favor. So you can play Student of Truth, play Faustian Pact, and get 36 favor right then and there. And that's nuts, right? And then because you have to obliterate your hand, that's completely fine because you can just rely on cards from the Sanctum to like replenish, right? And if you have a good Sanctum draw, like if you get the Rune of Power, or if you get Form of Power, or maybe any of the runes really, or even just like minions, like you should be fine. You should be able to replenish your hand. That's about 3 cards worth of Sanctum cards, right? Because the average card of a Sanctum card, the average cost of a Sanctum card is like 15, 12, 13, I don't know. But you'll be able to refill your hand via this card, even if you obliterate everything with Faustian Pact, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so that's the first card. I think Faustian Pact is just really underrated. It's only $27 right now at the time of filming. It's from the Genesis set and it's epic. And if there's anything that we've realized from like Genesis set epics, it's usually they'll go up in price because there are so few. But anyways, yeah, Faustian Pact is one. The second card that I want to highlight is Equivalent Exchange. And this card, I don't get why people aren't playing this card in ramp decks because, well, let's go over the effect first, right? So it's a 3-mana spell. Obliterate 2 cards in your hand, pick 1, unlock 2 mana locks, or draw 2 cards. So obliterating 2 cards in your hand can be a significant drawback. The crazy part about this though is in ramp decks specifically, you're going to have a lot of dead cards in your hand at either point in the game, right? So you're either going to have dead cards in the opening, whether that be like a really expensive minion or maybe just like dead removal, or you're going to have dead cards in the late game, whether that be the ramp cards that you don't need to use anymore because you've already ramped to that point in mana, right? So obliterating 2 cards isn't too bad of a drawback in ramp decks. And then the kicker is this cost isn't even mandatory. So if this is the only card in your hand and you would like to draw 2 cards, you can play this card still. You don't have to obliterate 2 cards in hand, which is really good, right? And the thing about ramp decks is you're gonna, like, your win condition is to pretty much speed up your mana or unlock your mana as fast as possible. And by unlocking 2 mana locks in 1 turn, you're effectively doubling the speed of your deck, right? Because this is the only card in the deck, or this is the only card in every set actually that can unlock 2 mana in 1 turn. Everything else can only unlock 1, which makes this card pretty busted. And then even at the end or during the end game, if you draw this card, it's not even a dead card because you can just play it, and then instead of unlocking 2 mana, you draw 2 cards, 2 powerful cards, since you're running a ramp deck, which typically runs like very high powered or high mana cost minions. So I really think this card is super undervalued right now. It's at $26.13 at the time of filming, and guess what? It's a Genesis set card, and it's an epic. So I wouldn't be surprised if this card got to like an insane amount of like value. Anyways, just heads up, this isn't financial advice, of course. This is more so talking about like player stuff. But yeah, and out of all the players or out of all the deck profiles that I've seen from Mana Ramp at the moment, I don't see players running Equivalent Exchange, and it like boggles me because that's the whole point of a mana ramp deck, right? It's to ramp as fast as possible. And what card can get you to 5 mana as fast as possible than an Equivalent Exchange, right? So that being said, that's the end of the video. I kind of just wanted to share this with my viewers because I've been thinking about this a lot, and honestly I want to share this knowledge because it's just like it's so blatant to me that these cards are good. It's just they're not seeing play right now because the decks that they support aren't like at the top of the meta. But imagine if that did happen, right? Imagine if the next set gave us like really strong, like high powered minions that justify running ramp decks, or if they gave us like really strong aggro minions that we can play like one cost, and then Faustian Pact Necronomics refill, right? There's so many possibilities with these cards, and yeah, I just think they're so like, for the price that they're at right now, I think that they can go higher. And yeah, these are just really powerful cards. Anyways, that's it. Enough of my rambling. Thanks for listening to my rant. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. See you next time. Later.